Chris has just returned from showing the Avon Rescue Budget Blaster at the Newark Kit Car Festival. Let's see what we've learned.
Well, hello again everybody. How are you doing? Hope you've had a reasonable weekend. I'm fresh back from the Newark Kit Car Show, and the reason I haven't done much filming up till now is, or for the last week, is it was a right old thrash trying to get the car ready to go to Newark. There's been a lot of changes which you won't have seen yet, unless you were at the show. And to everybody who did come to the show and say hello, really good to see you. And especially Jake's mum, hi. So yeah, what I'll do is not too much preamble this time. You can see that the car's a bit more together, but I will give you a good old walkthrough of what we've done. The show figures I think were quite good on Saturday, but Sunday the weather was against us. It really was just a pretty awful day weather-wise. But managed to get home okay, nothing went wrong, traded the car there and back, so it was all good. Didn't get too wet on the way home. Met some very interesting people who given me some nice ideas. So the plan is still intact, but a few details might change over the next little while. I'll keep you up to speed on those. So if you were at the show, the next little bit you probably will have seen. For the rest of you, especially if you're overseas, this will be the first time I'll take you around and I'll show you what we've done since we did the engine build episode. Okay, so as you can see, the engine is now very firmly in the hole. It's a tight fit at the top end. As you can see, the oil filler cap just clears the nose cone. They always were that way around. There's not a lot of point me showing you how to crane an engine into a Lotus 7 chassis. There's nothing particularly exciting there. So we'll go around and look at some of the other things that we've updated. The battery is now in position down here, ready for me to start doing the cable runs. If I walk round to the other side of the car, the exhaust is now on. So this is the standard Tiger supplied exhaust, and you can see I've made a heat reflector and trim plate to go underneath the first part of the manifold to protect the GRP, and it's in a super high reflective gold foil stuck over aluminium. And we come along and we see we've got a Black Widow bike silencer on the back of it. Don't know what it's going to sound like yet, but I think it should be okay. One of the last things to do on the exhaust is between the collector here and the pipes, I'll have some springs, sort of things they use on Superbike. We weld a stud here and a stud there, and the spring goes between the two to make sure they don't start to separate. So we should be able to get 1, 2, 3. Don't know if I'm going to bother with the fourth one, but the 3 should hold it nice and tight together anyway. You can see I still haven't made the pedal box cover box yet. That's on the to-do list, and that should be coming up reasonably soon. But I have made the Aeroscreen in aluminium and then wrapped it in carbon fibre film, which I think looks quite nice. Seems to suit the rest of the car. And if we wander around the back a little bit, you can see the dash. This is what an awful lot of the fuss has been about. How can I give you the best angle? If I come in through here, I think you can probably see most of it there. So it's pretty much like the cardboard mock-up showed. We've got the main dials behind the steering wheel with a warning light cluster just above and in between. And then over to the left we've got the 4 ancillary dials and the switch panel. And then right over on the far left we've got the battery isolator switch. Now what's going to be quite difficult for you to pick up, because you're not in the workshop here with me, is that the 4 ancillary dials are actually in angled housings. You see their angle they're sitting at? So they point over towards the driver, which makes the viewing angle so much better. Now one of the other bits of the dash, which took a lot, was the 2 main dials here are now set back from the main dash face here, which means I had to make this little trim panel to go in here to bridge the gap between the two. It runs across the top of the steering wheel and then down the other side again. That was a sod to make. to roll that front edge round and then get the carbon fibre to peel round without crinkling. The rest of them are fairly flat panels, so there's nothing really too fancy there. And you can see I've got the shift light stuck up there, and this is the adjuster for the shift light, so I can actually control what RPM it comes on at. Now another upgrade which you won't have seen was I've made the seat, just the driver's seat for now, and hopefully you can see there's quite a lot of ridges running up and down it here. That's because it's made of layers and layers and layers of carpet underlay foam to try and get the shape right. Then there's a big lumbar support panel down here as well, and then it's covered in the same black van lining carpet as the transmission tunnel on the body sides. The seat base again is a sheet of plywood with lots of different layers of foam stuck over the top to try and give me some thigh support, and covered in the same black foam. And if you look just down the front of the seat there, I think you can just see the two little brackets which bolt it to the support frame underneath. I haven't started on the passenger side seat yet. That's going to be to do this week now we're back. Now the car's still pretty filthy, I'm afraid. I've not washed it since I got back from Newark yet. I just finished unloading everything. So it's seen daylight for the first time on its wheels as a nearly complete car, which is quite a milestone for this poor old thing. After 20 years of languishing, it's now making some good progress. Now, because I hadn't had the engine in the car with all the details on before I went to the show, I hadn't realised how angled the carburettor mounting face of the inlet manifold is. Now hopefully you can see that this is tilted. Let me see if I can get in the right place to show you. If you look at the top of the cam cover here, and then look at the angle of this, you can see that's leaning downhill like that. Now that's going to cause havoc with the fuel level in the float chamber. So I'm going to have to make some kind of angled spacer to go on here to lift the carburettor up to get it flat. Otherwise, it won't be so bad under full power, but on idle, the fuel level in the float chamber is going to be wrong because the carburettor's not sitting flat. So that's one of my jobs for this week. Then I've also got to plug up various holes through the side of the manifold for vacuum intake ports and stuff like that, and heater outlet pipes. So I'm going to be getting on that one to see if I can get the carburettor mounted. Then when I've got that in the right place, I can get the hole cut through the bonnet. Now, what else can I show you? I've got some still pictures, which hopefully Jim can put in, of rolling it out into the sunshine for the first time, just before we went to the show. Oh yeah, and I've made the infill for the rear boot aperture hole, cubby box, whatever you want to call it, to fill that in so we can actually use it. And I shall probably make a very lightweight cloth clip-on press stud to cover to go over the top of that, just so it doesn't collect too much rainwater when it's being transported. Hopefully you can see down here as well, I've put the indicator switch on the dash rather than on a column stalk, tucked away on the side. And I've tidied up the steering wheel with a bit more carbon wrap on the spokes. I know again it's not IVA compliant, but for now, because we're not going through the dreaded IVA test, we don't have to concern ourselves too much with it. I hope you like the dash, and now you've seen it in the flesh. If you like it, don't like it, leave me a comment, let me know. I do like feedback on this kind of stuff. You can still see the whole mess of wiring underneath in the footwell there, and the next couple of weeks are all going to be about wiring and connecting everything up. So this wasn't meant to be a full episode, this is just an update really of where we are and the things that you hadn't seen, because I didn't have time to film them while I was getting ready for the show, because I was just thrashing trying to get the car to this stage. Right then peeps, it's time to make a seat. Now because we're on the really tight budget on this one, I'm almost right up to the limit. What I'm going to do to make the seat, it's actually rather going to be a seat, it's going to be 2 upholstered boards. And I've got these 2 nice bits of ply, which are the boot floor out of an old Morris Minor. I know it seems like a bit of a cheapskate thing to do, but I had them sitting in the back of the shed. They're lovely thickness and they're really good quality old-fashioned plywood. So they should do just what I need. I'm going to cut them out into 2 shapes first, and then I'll start the upholstery process, and I'll bring you with me all the way through. And here we have the 2 boards roughed into shape. And you see on the back board, I've left this extra piece hanging over the top of the tunnel. Now, when you're cornering hard, you've got something to lean against here with the outside of the bodywork. But your upper half of your body hasn't got much to lean on going around this side when you're going around right-hand corners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up with foam along this corner to try and give some support for the upper part of my shoulders to try to stop me sliding that way under hard cornering. Now the bottom board here just looks like a regular piece of plywood, and you'll see I've left a cutout in the corner here. This is where the seatbelt mounting bolt goes, and there's another one this side in a similar position. So that's, rather than getting too tight on the seatbelts, that gives us enough room to get them in easily. And at the front edge, across here, I'm going to build up some thigh support, again with some layers of foam running crossways to try and give some support for the underneath of my thighs. At the back, it's only going to be one very thin piece of foam to sit on, and on the back board here it's only going to be one thin piece of foam to lean against. But down the bottom I can engineer in some lumbar support, and I can also make, I suppose, like a triangular section to come up here, again to give you some more support and make it more comfortable. Should make more sense when I can show you the foam starting to go into place. While we're talking interiors, I showed you putting the carpet on a little while ago. But I didn't explain or show what these edge strips are. It's an aluminium, it's referred to as bird's mouth or bird's beak corner trim, because to get in and out of a car like this, you have to put your hands on here and lever yourself out the seat. You can't just stand up. So it needed a very robust and easy to clean corner trim. The other side's not so bad because you can use the outside edge of the body here to push on, which is nicely rounded. But that side needed that trim to make it comfortable to get in and out. And the foam I like to use for creating these shapes is this high density, it's a chip foam, it's like a recycled chips, but it's slightly more dense than the standard yellow foam you can buy in sheets, which means it's more comfortable in thinner layers. It comes with a cloth backing which holds it together nicely. It's really easy to work with, and above all, because it is carpet underlaid rather than car upholstery foam, it comes on a roll and it's lovely and cheap. We like that. Now you can see where the foam has been built up in layers to create support where we need it. So it's 3 layers thick here, 2, 1, down to nothing. 4 layers thick here, but actually down the bottom it's 5 layers thick because there's another layer underneath here. This is to create some lumbar support so you don't get an aching back after you've been driving for a little while. And on the floor section, single layer of foam here, then it's ended up 5 or 6 layers thick here if I actually stand the seat up. You can see, there we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers at the front to give a little bit of thigh support. So we're just building the shape up layer by layer, and then keep trying it. See what's comfortable for you. I've done it this way around. I'm old, I've got a bad back. I want to be comfortable inside the car. Now I think you can see there's no way any kind of production car seat or even aftermarket seat is going to fit this, give me that layer of support where I need it, and keep me securely in. The other last little detail is I've got an extra few layers just here, just to give me that bit of support, as I was talking about. When you're going around right hand corners, your body wants to go left. That gives you something else to push against as you're going around the corner. Next step from here is to try and make it look pretty. That's going to take a little while. Okay, so to summarise what we're doing this one, this was never going to be a full episode. This was a catch up after the kit car show, and we showed you that we've done quite a few bits and pieces since you last saw the car. I was going to try and cover how I made this Aeroscreen in this episode, but there's a lot to it. So I think rather than trying to cram it in as a little bit, I'm going to do a deep dive on the whole dashboard and the fabrication of it as part of the next episode. Film it all properly so you can see what actually went on there rather than squeeze it in as a little bit. So yeah, we're a really good progress so far. Things are coming along nicely. Within the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks, might even have the engine running. That'd be great if we can actually make the thing make noise. So hopefully you've enjoyed what you've seen on this one. And then we can, I think on the next one, we'll do the dashboard and we'll get really involved in the wiring and see if we can get all the car wired in, and we'll take you through and show you everything we're doing along the way. We can get the lights fitted, get the front wings fitted, so that will make it look a lot different. And we can try and put the grille in as well, because that's only going to be a fairly simple affair. So I think really for now, that'll wrap this one up. And hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.
Chris, you are amazing. You've really burnt the midnight oil, making this little budget blaster kit car show ready, then went to Newark and showed it all weekend long. All I can say is you must be totally knackered. Thank you. We've learned a lot and can't wait to see what's happening next. If you like the kind of stuff we do at 7 Spot, please take a moment to click the subscribe button and give us a like. That way you will be sure to get a notification for our next episode. Bye for now, and we'll see you at 7 Spot.